Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Dong Report, where I give out my favorite MLB home run picks for the day. My name is Matt Modi with Jedi Modi Sports Betting. I got 3 Dong picks for you guys today, but real quick before we get into that, of course, we need to do a recap of yesterday. I gave out 3 picks on this YouTube channel. I got 1 of those 3 to cash. Thank you to Jordan Alvarez. We end the day with a slight profit, up 1.5 units. I gotta say, real quick, we had Luis Robert Jr. to hit a home run yesterday. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter, saw that I tweeted this out. He hit a home run that would have been a home run he hit a ball, that would have been a home run in literally every other park. And it hit the top right of the outfield wall. If it was 4 inches north, 4 inches east, it would have been a home run, but it wasn't the case. He got a triple out of it. So if that had just gone out, we would have had an incredible day, but alas, it was not in the cards. But regardless, still a profitable day, still having a ton of success overall. Overall, we are up 52.2 units on the Dong Report, so over 5K for those of you $100 unit bettors with an ROI of 11.24%. Very, very good stuff. As I mentioned, I got 3 more home run picks for you guys today. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are subscribed, welcome back, and I appreciate you. And let's chat about some dongs. First play of the evening in the Giants versus Angels game, we are going with Shohei Ohtani to hit a home run. That is at plus 360 odds at FanDuel. And every play is going to be on FanDuel today. All 3 are going to be on FanDuel. So Ohtani, it's been a little bit since we've gone with him. And kind of thankfully, that's the case because he's been in a little bit of a cold streak for his standards. He hasn't hit a home run in his last 3 games, and he only has 2 home runs in his last 10 games. Now, there was a stretch where he just kept getting walked, literally didn't get any pitches to hit, and that's why he couldn't get one to go yard. That hasn't been the case recently. In his past 3 games alone, he's only been walked once, and in that stretch, he's struck out 7 times. So he just hasn't had a lot of success at the plate, but we are backing him to break out of that slump tonight. So for this game specifically, it's not the best weather game for home runs to be hit, but it is still positive. It is still in the green, according to Ballpark Pal. Also, a little bit scary with the Giants having Logan Webb on the mound, who is a good pitcher, but he's a right-handed pitcher. Ohtani crushes right-handed pitching, so the matchup advantage is still in extreme favor of Ohtani. And even if you look at his recent slump, Ohtani's ISO rate in the last 14 days is still at 31.8%. Now remember, ISO rate stands for isolated power. Anything that is 25% and above is excellent. He's at 31.8%, and that's with a cold streak, which is insane. And if you isolate in that same span the past 14 days, but specifically against right-handed pitching, that ISO rate jumps up to 38.9%. So we're talking about a guy that's on a quote-unquote cold streak who still has insane, ridiculous power numbers. So I'm confident that he's going to break out of the slump, hit one for us tonight. He's also, on the entire season as a whole, got a barrel rate of 19.7%. That's literally the best in the MLB. Barrel rate literally measures how well you hit the barrel of the bat. He's got the best one of all hitters in the MLB. So Ohtani, despite the recent cold streak, I'm not scared off. I'm trusting him to hit one for us tonight. Next up, in the Marlins versus Reds game, we're taking Jorge Soler to hit a home run. That is at plus 220 odds at FanDuel. Now, this is the juiciest game of a day from a weather perspective for home runs to be hit. And I'll admit there were a couple players that I was debating between. I obviously settled on Soler, but if you do want my honorable mention, it's Jake Burger. I did really consider him as well. I ended up going with Soler. So Jake Burger, obviously, yes, no, if he hits a home run, won't be tracked. Obviously, we're only going to be tracking Soler. But I did know that I wanted to target a right-handed batter for the Marlins specifically. The reason why the Reds are throwing out Brandon Williamson on the mound, and that guy is terrible. He's got a home run per 9 of 1.57, which is below average. Overall, his ERA is 4.85, and his expected ERA is almost a full run higher at 5.72. So it's not as though he's just getting unlucky or anything like that. Lastly, regarding this pitcher, he has a barrel rate allowed. That would be bottom 10 in the MLB. It's almost at a 10% barrel rate allowed for pitchers, which again would be bottom 10 in the MLB. So looking at Soler, Obviously, we have a lot of confidence in him tonight. I will say he also, similar to Ohtani, has been on a little bit of a cold streak recently. Soler went on a ridiculous hot streak earlier in the season, but he has cooled down quite a bit since then. He's got 26 home runs on the year, but only 2 in his last 10, similar to Ohtani. And his last home run came on August 2nd, so he's gone 4 straight games without one. But if there was ever a game, ever an opportunity for him to break out of a slump, it would be in this game. I guess, as I mentioned, I wanted to target a right-handed batter because the Reds are throwing a lefty. And Jorge Soler crushes left-handed pitching. On the entire season, his ISO rate against lefties is 42.4%. That's obviously incredibly good, really, really good. Now, I mentioned he's been on a cold streak. So if you isolate his ISO rate against left-handed pitching just to the last 14 days, the number goes down to 23.1%. So not above the excellent threshold anymore, but still considered great. If you remember, Fangraphs considers anything for ISO rate 20% and above to be considered great. So the fact that he is still considered great, even with his recent slump, that's a good news for us. And I'm confident that he will hit one for us tonight, cashing our second play. And last up, in the Cubs versus Mets game, we're taking Francisco Lindor to hit a home run plus 360 odds at FanDuel. Now, this is another incredibly juicy game from a home run perspective, from a weather perspective as well. But I will admit that there is a risk of a rain delay or just a complete postponement. That's also the reason why this weather is so good for home runs. The humidity is going to push the ball out, but that also leads to storms. So if we can get this game to be played, very confident that Lindor is going to hit one for us. The Cubs have Drew Smyly pitching on the mound for them. Not a horrible pitcher, also not a great pitcher. He's got a home run per 9 of 1.68. That's obviously below average. That's pretty bad as well. And even if you look at his expected ERA, it's still above 4. It's not like Brandon Williamson for the Reds, who ERA was bad and his expected ERA was even worse. Drew Smyly has a bad ERA, but his expected ERA is a little bit better, but still not good by any means. And I'm not here saying that Lindor is having a great year. He's got 22 home runs on the year, and he has 3 in his last 10 games. But he is playing better at the plate recently. Looking at his last 10 games, he's got a hit in 8 of them, and he's got multiple hits in 5 of them. So that's obviously a good sign. He's a switch hitter going up against a left-handed pitcher. Against left-handed pitching, his ISO rate is in the excellent category. This is on the entire season at 25.6%. And if you look at his ISO rate in the last 14 days, specifically last 2 weeks, it's up at 29.5%. So as long as this game is played, Lindor will absolutely cash a home run for us, making this a 3-0 day. So if you are riding, if you are tailing, comment and let me know. Make sure to put a small amount on the parlay as well. It's like $10 to win 600, along with putting all of them individually as well as the parlay. And that's all I got. So appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.